How did petroleum enter the Earth's crust? Petroleum is an important resource found beneath the Earth's surface in a variety of regions, including deserts and countries such as Saudi Arabia. Ever wonder how it got there in the first place? Deserts are now barren, with no wild animals or plants, although they formerly held lively oceans. Millions of years ago, an asteroid impact or other catastrophic event produced a drastic change that buried all life beneath layers of sediment. But over time, what was discovered in the desert later was something no one expected. Algae and plants existed in shallow oceans millions of years ago. After decaying and sinking to the ocean, the organic material mingled with other sediments and became buried. Over millions of years, under great pressure and temperature, the remains of these animals evolved into what we now know as fossil fuels. All fossil fuels, including coal, natural gas, and petroleum, evolved under comparable conditions. Today, petroleum is found in large subsurface reservoirs where ancient seas once existed. These reservoirs may be located beneath land or on the ocean floor. Extracting crude oil from these reservoirs necessitates massive drilling machinery. Crude oil can appear in a variety of colors, including black or dark brown, yellowish, reddish, tan, and even green. These color variants represent various chemical compositions. Petroleum containing few metals or sulfur is typically lighter and practically transparent. Petroleum is essential for the production of gasoline, which is a daily necessity. Beyond gasoline, it is used to make thousands of diverse items, such as tires, freezers, life jackets, and anesthetics. However, burning petroleum products such as gasoline emits poisonous chemicals and massive amounts of carbon dioxide, a major greenhouse gas. This mechanism contributes to global warming by upsetting the natural carbon balance in the atmosphere. There is a large amount of petroleum beneath the Earth's surface, including in tar pits that bubble to the surface. However, petroleum, like coal and natural gas, is not a renewable resource. It took millions of years to produce, and once devoured, it cannot be replaced. Experts believe that the world will approach peak oil, the maximum level of oil output, as early as 2050. This inevitability highlights the critical necessity to discover other energy sources. The geological circumstances that gave rise to petroleum occurred millions of years ago. Plants, algae, and plankton floated in ancient oceans and shallow seas. At the conclusion of their lives, these organisms sunk to the seafloor, where they were crushed and buried beneath millions of tons of sediment and further plant debris. Ancient oceans eventually dried up, producing dry basins known as sedimentary basins. Deep within these basins, biological material was crushed between the Earth's mantle and the rock and sediment layers above. Under these oxygen-deprived circumstances, organic matter converted into kerogen, a waxy material. With more heat, time, and pressure, kerogen underwent catagenesis, changing into hydrocarbons, which are compounds composed of hydrogen and carbon. Different combinations of heat and pressure produce diverse types of hydrocarbons, including coal, peat, and natural gas. Petroleum is derived mostly from sedimentary basins. For example, the Niger Delta Sedimentary Basin in Africa, which includes Nigeria, Cameroon, and Equatorial Guinea, contains over 500 oil resources and is one of Africa's most productive oil fields. In some areas, petroleum naturally bubbles to the Earth's surface. In Saudi Arabia and Iraq, open sandstone permits oil to leak into small ponds. However, the vast majority of petroleum is confined in subsurface reserves. The total amount of petroleum in a reservoir is referred to as oil in place. Not all of this can be extracted since drilling for some petroleum liquids is too difficult, risky, or expensive. The fraction that can be extracted and refined is referred to as oil reserves, and drilling operations are based on these established reserves. Drilling may be developing, exploratory, or directed. Developmental drilling takes place in regions with known oil reserves, like as Prada Bay in Alaska, which contains the greatest oil reserve in the United States. Exploratory drilling, sometimes known as wildcat drilling, is the hunt for fresh reserves in previously untested locations. This high-risk, high-reward method has traditionally drawn many, like Diamond Glenn McCarthy, who discovered large oil deposits in Texas. Directional drilling entails drilling vertically to an known oil source and then angling the drill to reach new resources. This approach resulted in key geopolitical events, such as the Gulf War of 1991. When Iraq accused Kuwait of utilizing directional drilling to take oil from Iraqi resources. This charge prompted Iraq's invasion of Kuwait and subsequent international involvement. Understanding how petroleum evolved and is extracted today illustrates the intricate interplay of geological processes spanning millions of years. While petroleum remains an important resource in modern life, its non-renewable nature and environmental effect necessitate a shift to sustainable energy sources. As we approach peak oil, identifying these alternatives becomes increasingly important for global energy stability.